Hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? If you guys remember, last episode I did mention that we're going to get into fluid crafting, and by fluid crafting, I just mean automating assemblers. I did mention that I want to make something called a precise assembler, but that's actually not good enough for what I want to do. It does require extra steps to be automated, and it's also kind of expensive. We will make that later on, probably after the assembling machine. So what I mean is that we're going to automate the single block assembling machines and 2 autoclaves. So in order to do that, we are going to need a ton of assembling machines. I'm going to go with 24, so we need 42 more robot arms. And this is everything that we're missing, and we're also consuming 95.24% of our tungsten steel supply. So I suppose we're going to need way more. I ordered 1000 more. Graphene is being made. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, but this batch should make it sufficient. Let me figure out the rest of the items. I'll be right back. I'm still waiting for my tungsten. I think the vacuum freezer, yeah, you're working at IV, so you're a bit slow. Yeah, I'm still waiting for the resources, and the reason that everything is going to be hyper expensive is that all the assembling machines are going to be IV. We could have gone with high voltage, extreme voltage, maybe a few IV assembling machines, but I want things to be standard. So let us turn off the vacuum freezer and make some adjustments. Oh, that's the wrong one. I was wondering why it doesn't stack. It's the 4 amp one. So this should mean that our vacuum freezer should work at LUV and it should be considerably faster. That's not bad. But I think our power consumption, yeah, we're now consuming more than we're producing. It's perfectly fine. We will live. Alright guys, it has been a while later, and that is the row of our assembling machines. There is 24 of them here, each one of them is for a specific circuit, and 6 of them are without circuits. We also have 2 autoclaves and 2 fluid extractors to smelt down items so that we can use them inside the assembling machines. So now if I want to actually craft something, it's super easy. Yeah. Amazingly easy. Obviously, you already know how to automate these things. We are going to need a block in our applied energistic system somewhere in the network called a fluid discretizer. I don't know what it does, it just has to be in the system. I'm using dual interfaces which can provide items as well as fluids. And obviously everything is hooked up to power using superconductors to our capacitor bank. That is obviously going to make my life so much easier. Yes, there are going to be odd crafts which require a different circuit or a different assembling machine, but that's not a big deal. However, the problem is, this process made me bankrupt. So I'm going to go on a very long mining mission in order to gather resources. And our first destination is Europa. I have oxygen, right? Yeah. Actually, you can see it on my back. Okay, Europa orbits Jupiter, right? That's Io, that's Europa. Europa looks weird. Hello, Europa. Wait, I found a galaxy. So over here what we're looking for is something that can be used in order to extract samarium. Yeah, Ledox vein. There's also going to be a ton of tin here, and I need tin, so I'll gather that one as well. But there's tons of Ledox. I made a new prospector. It's EV. So let me gather some Ledox and some tin. Hello? I need the... Whoops. Oh, that's gonna be problematic. There are not weird creatures here, right? Under the ocean. So a few points. The ocean is like 3 blocks deep, so it's not a big deal, you can just cover it. Another very important thing is that if we use a soul vial, that's a Blizz. I got him. And we need a monster repellator. Oh, and I forgot to mention, yes, it is called a Ledox vein, but we're looking for this one. I'm not even going to try and read that, but it gives you samarium ore concentrate, which in return gives you samarium so that you can make motors from the LUVH. I actually needed the Blaze for gelid cryotium. Now we can have cryogenic freezers. Would have been way more useful last episode. But I didn't know where to find them. My fellow Dark Ones, our next destination is the asteroid belt. Well, we are already here actually. Oh, that's an asteroid. Hello. The weird part of it is the large asteroids don't actually have any ores. Well, they do, it's like aluminium, but you have to look for the odd ones. This one was netherrack and it had ilmenite. Red granite seems to have naquadah, and I think I also spotted bauxite. Well, the black granite is magnetite. The prospector doesn't really work, you just have to look for very odd asteroids. I have also done some mining on Callisto and we should probably leave. I'm out of oxygen. I have like 2 tanks left. There's no point of staying here longer. What I have been doing is that I have been looking for Callisto ice. If we mix it, we will get something called compressed ice plate, and that essentially gives us a tier 4 rocket. However, we're going to pay another visit to Ross 128b. Over here, oxygen doesn't really matter, right? Okay? At least we're not landing on a tree. The reason that we are here on the Ross planet is that, yeah, it doesn't really show you the ores that it has in the JEI, but there are very important ones here. For example, that's red zircon and it gives you zirconium. There is another one which I'm not really going to try and pronounce it, but that gives you indium. Eventually I'm going to try and get indium through UU matter later on because I'm wasting all of my sphalerite and galena. And well, sphalerite gives you cadmium, which is something that I need, and also gallium, and I'm not getting any of these. So if I can get some extra indium to get me going, I don't really mind it. There's another ore which gives you tungsten, and there's another one which gives you chrome, I think. I forgot which one was which. It's fine. Besides, this is a very peaceful planet, there are no hostile mobs. Alright guys, I'm back from mining, and yes, we have a teeny tiny bit of warp. I'm not that crazy to jump around. And well, we are filthy rich. These are compressed chests, all of them are full, but there's way more here as well. I went to the Nether and the Twilight Forest, and we have tons of goodies. However, we're not going to process them, we're actually going to change our ore processing setup. I think every type of manufacturing line that you make in this mod pack, you have to actually do that twice at least, before you would be able to optimize it. Because now that I'm thinking, this one is good enough, but it's not amazing. However, in addition to changing some of the machines and adding a few more machines, we're also going to change the power. We're not going to go with Bunzen, and I don't think I'm ever going to make Nitro Bunzen. We're just gonna go with solar panels. It's stupid, I know. A very long time ago, I watched an episode of Ep15 who has been folded, and he used an extra large turbo gas turbine. It's basically equivalent to 16 large gas turbines. If I'm not wrong, a gas turbine is actually capped at IV. If you have 16 of them in one block or a multi-block, that means you have 4 amps of LUV power, correct? This setup that you see in front of you gives us 2 amps of LUV power. The upside is that it does not require any infrastructure, it's incredibly compact, and you can literally move it whenever you want, and it's also upgradable. Well, it can go as high as UV. After that, we have to think of something else. But I'm assuming by that time we are going to have Naquata reactors or something crazy. And true, the downside of these solar panels is that they don't really work during nighttime or they don't really work during the rain. But as a person who has been playing around with gas turbines for a very long time, I'm also very positive that you can't keep that one running 24/7. You will run out of wood, you will run out of nitro benzene, you will run out of something. So we are going to go with solar panels because I think they're the most efficient one. True, it does require a very high initial investment in the form of circuits and rare material, but that's not a big deal. Over the course of this episode, I have been ordering half a stack of quantum processors whenever I had the resources. That should take care of our circuits. I'm also making a ton of sonarium. But there is one thing that we didn't take care of, and that is steel leaf. So let's try to fix that one too. There's always plenty of armor here. I think a sword is better. We go with a sword. Oops. We don't die anyways. Oh, hi. Big guy. Every ounce of steel leaf that I had, minus the sword which I missed, gave us, I don't know, around 200 steel leaf. We already had a bit as well. Well, I need 128 in order to make half a stack more solar panels, but what if I need more? You always need more. Let's go back. The Twilight Forest is an infinite world, so there are plenty of swamps. Let's go in. Oh, hi. I actually like the beetles. They drop tons of goodies. I'm back from the Twilight Forest and we have 328. I don't think in any scenario we're going to need more than 256, but we will see. Anyways, automating the assemblers has made my job so much easier because I just made 1 stack of solar panels, and here should be half a stack of the other solar panel. It's decently fast, I can't really complain. I believe we also need 1 stack of high voltage circuits, so let's order them half a stack at a time. And we still have polybenzimidazole here. Okay. I can automate the next steps as well, but I need a ton of nether stars. Because I have to move on to extreme crafting. I don't know, should we automate it? Well, I would need 1 for low voltage, 1 for medium voltage, 1 for high voltage, 1 for extreme voltage. And then later on, 1 for insane voltage. How many nether stars is that? Yeah, I don't really think it's worth it. I need to kill around 90 withers. I'm not really in the mood. It's just a bit of shift clicking anyways, not a big deal. My fellow dark ones, it is the next day for me. I just woke up and we also just had our first death. I died in a very weird way. My doppelganger killed me. I always killed him and nothing happened. This time, I don't know what happened. I did too much damage? Maybe? Well, if we go at this rate and die, I think the game will be over before I lose all of my lives. Although, we can have more lives, don't you worry. And yes, we are in need of glowstone, as usual. Ore processing is not really working, mob farm is very slow, and I don't have any other sources. Mob farm is actually not slow, it's just that we're consuming a lot. If you are wondering why the hell do I need so much uranium, it's because of this guy, irradiant uranium. It's something that I need for the solar panels. As a progress update, if I get that irradiant uranium, we will have half a stack of high voltage solar panels, everything else is ready. But for the EV one, I'm still going to need tons of sonarium, and I think that's going to take, I don't know, 3-4 hours. But that's actually quite fine, I have plenty of work to do. Of course, one of my main jobs is to make processors. And the other one is that I really have to make this place a bit less cobblestoney. And the way that I had everything in mind is that, well, there are going to be tiny structures on top and there's going to be a bunker underneath, which is going to be our ore processing, right? And if it's a bunker, it should have a blast door. And for that, thankfully, we have drawbridges. Normally this would be a pain, but thanks to our mob farm, it's actually not a pain anymore. We do get dispensers, drawers, everything. Drawbridges are extremely fun to use. Unfortunately, they were never continued after 1.7. Although in 1.12 you do have a mod which gives you a drawbridge, and I think also something in 1.16. But basically you give it a redstone signal and voila. It places down blocks. And then if you remove the redstone signal, it retracts it. That's our door. We just need to have a row of them like so, that's 7. And let us make it out of hazard blocks. Why not? So now if we get a redstone signal to all of them, the door should not close. I'm missing 5 blocks here. It's fine. Let's try this again. Without the boo-boo. Yeah, that's our door. We just need to make it fancy. We do have Project Red in this mod pack, so we do have fancy buttons. And yes, it's purple. And what we want to do is that we want to read a signal from this block over here in order to open the door. So we have some redstone dust. We need a pulse extender. Not sure if that's gonna be enough, but let us give it a test. That's not bad. Yeah, and then we just need to send the signal up there, which I'm using these redstone wires. And of course I'm having an inverted signal so that the door is always closed, but when we press the button, it will open for a few seconds. We can cross, and it will close. It's kind of fun. And stupid. Another thing that I forgot to do with my platinum line, which is causing me some problems, is that I actually forgot something very important. I mean, it's not something horrifying, it's just that I forgot to bring back everything that we are processing over here back to our main network. This is a sub-network. We do have a few free channels, so let us use an ender chest and also a storage bus for filtering. Because right now everything is in the system, I have to use an export bus, the storage bus is for the future. These are the things that we want to take back into our system. So we shall put a filter on our storage bus and it shall receive a higher priority. Things will no longer go into the subnetwork, they will go into an ender chest. And we also export them into the ender chest for the moment so that our system would be empty. Yeah, they're being exported. I was out of sulfur and zinc. And by the way, we have like 5,000 gold here, so why not? When this process is over, I just put the ender chest next to the storage bus, that's it. The issue with my platinum line is solved, although we're getting a ton of palladium. And that's concerning. We're actually sifting more than we're consuming, which is weird. The reason that I'm calling this concerning is that it should get consumed. Okay, the input bus is full, output bus is not. Because my palladium enriched ammonia actually comes from platinum. Okay, that makes sense. There's no more platinum metallic powder in that thing, so it's not working. Okay, now I understand. Anyways, I thought maybe we should start working on the actual ore processing. Because I'm up to high voltage solar panels and there's not much left until the EV one. Well, the only problem is sonarium, as usual. I think I need around 128 more, then we'll be good. That's actually already a few hours. Let's use the door, my fancy door. And yeah, you might notice we're going to have 2 more macerators. The reason that we have 2 more macerators is not just because we want extra speed, it's actually because of filtering. And this is why I'm actually not sharing walls, because I need the input hatches. Another thing is that I was under the impression that these guys are working at high voltage and I was really happy. But no, everything works at EV because everybody has like 2 energy hatches. So let us remove all the cabling and switch the hatches first with 1 EV. Why do you have like 4? Okay. It's because there are two machines on top of each other, it's not just one machine. Aha, so the remodeling has been done. This is Minecraft, we never use the door. But as I have already mentioned, we are going to have two extra macerators. I have added a centrifuge over here. The thermal centrifuges are there, and two more electrolyzers. There are going to be a few single block machines as well, but we will do that later on. The thing is, some of the items that I wanted to process actually come to our main network, and then we process them using this chemical bath and also a few chemical reactors. I want to do most of the job over there. In any case, we are also extremely close in order to get our solar panel. I think the only thing we're missing is the circuits. The reinforced tungsten steel plate is getting prepared. That takes a lot of time. And we need one more stack of quantum computers. Yeah, that will be done. Quantum computers are a bit expensive, is the thing. I have also made myself an extra Lapatronic supercapacitor, but this time we're not using IV capacitors, we're using EV. They're surprisingly cheaper, and besides, we don't need that much power here. I give you that, there are too many EV machines here, but not every single machine is going to use the full amp. Yeah, it's gonna look something like this. It's going to have 3 layers of capacitors, and I think that should be sufficient. If not, we can go one block higher. Actually, I was preparing some stuff. Instead of 27, we can go with 36. Yeah, I have been preparing stuff. Even the circuits. The EV one is actually super cheap, I don't really care. Anyways, this part is pretty standard, so let me try to set up a few of the solar panels, set up my power, and I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while, and well, I have been busy. So first off, I did not wait for the entire half a stack of solar panels to be ready. I just crafted 14 for our ore processing. And this is our capacitor bank. Yes, it does look slightly bigger than the one we have at the base, but this one is cheaper because it's EV. We are generating somewhere around 28,000 EU over here, and I have never ever gone beyond like 14,000. Although not all the machines are running, it's like 60% of them. Some of them don't even have a pattern yet. The changes that I have made to our ore processing are not humongous. Our ore washing plant no longer works as an ore washer, it's now a chemical bath. It's taking in sulfuric acid, mercury, as well as sodium persulfate in order to extract more ores from the ores. It's very fancy. I have decided to do all of these changes after we have gone to Rust 128b because of the ores. Some of them are incredibly useful, and therefore down here I have some autoclaves. Their job is to give us sodium tungstate from 3 different ores. Of course, sodium tungstate goes to our own base over here, and we're converting it into tungsten. For the platinum lime, yes, we are going to get some platinum metallic powder, but I also have a chemical reactor. This is for chalcopyrite. It doesn't have any chalcopyrite, but it has been processing some. You know, we get the platinum group sludge dust, we centrifuge it, we get tons of goodies. And the final thing that this ore processing does is this. The dehydrator. We are processing rare earth 1, and that gives us a ton of cadmium as well as yttrium. So all in all, it's a more efficient system, it does not consume any bunzen, and that makes me happy. Oh, and yeah, chemical bath also processes ilmenite, so we get the rutile. So that's also not made at our base anymore. Alright guys, if you look at the top left hand corner of the screen, you might notice it's been a while. Quite a while actually, because I had a teeny tiny bit of a failed project. I was trying to replicate some indium, and then I decided against it, so it's not going to be included in the video. However, in order to replicate indium, I have made a few changes, so let's do a very small update. We now have the second algae farm, and no, rain doesn't affect them. I have converted the rest of the solar panels that I had, which were in cover form, into block form, and we're using it over here, so in total we have 48 of them. 14 are over here, and 2 are inside the ME system, because it was not symmetrical. But later on, I'm just going to add it to our ore processing and make 16 more over here, so in total we're going to have 1 stack of solar panels. But that's something that I will do slowly, we don't really have to go that crazy. Another very important thing that I have done is that I have hooked up our applied energy sticks to our solar panel, so we're no longer using Thermcraft generators. I just wanted to set them free for a project which failed. Didn't fail, it wasn't worth it. So before we wrap up today's episode, we are going to make the temporarily transcendent assembly. Now, I don't really know what that is, but it looks weird. Oh, that was purple. Exotic mainframe. Thank you, Dream Master. Everything exotic should be purple. Yeah, as I was saying, before we wrap up today's episode, there are 2 small projects that I want to do. One of them is regarding our macerators. Currently we have 4 macerators, but they're considered tier 1 because, well, it does need a chip for an upgrade. That will quadruple the speed without affecting the power, so why not? The main problem with this part is that since we have 4 of them, we need to upgrade all of them at the same time. So we need 16 macerators, IV tier. I have already made the parts, so this should go smoothly. Yes. I have ordered the ZPM circuits. We need tungsten carbide. Oh, that's a weird recipe. It's just carbon and tungsten. Okay. You would expect something super fancy. Honestly speaking, it's not a very expensive upgrade, but it does take a ton of palladium and, well, cooking it and cooling it down takes a bit of time. But our tungsten carbide is ready, so we can have 4 of these chips. And I think I'm going to need 160 maceration casings, which we can't make. Fair enough. But can I have 60? 40? Yeah, I have to wait 2 minutes. I mean, for the future, let's also smelt more palladium, just in case. I started upgrading the first one, and no, we're going to need a bit more than 40, I think. And it also requires the chip, so will you work? There's nothing in it, but it does work, I suppose. Let us give it some ores to process. These guys are actually quite amazing. We're going to upgrade the final one. So the previous tier could handle 8 items at a time. This guy does half a stack. Half a stack is really a good number. Gives me 320 redstone. What? Well, that's awesome. So with the maceration towers fixed, there is one more thing that I need to do. So do you remember our clean room? The first time that we placed it actually somewhere here, then we moved it over there. And last episode, for some reason, I decided to take it up there. A bit of a stupid decision, I admit. So I'm going to bring it down over here because next episode I want to start making the assembly line, and for that I'm going to need more circuits. It's also a bit difficult to remove plascretes, so we're going to use our wand, like so. It's kind of fun. Cool. It's almost gone. Okay. That's our clean room, and I think it's almost done. One of the first changes that you might notice is that it's way bigger. It's actually 13 by 9. The other change that we're going to make to it is going to be that we're going to use a diode. This is a 12 amp IV diode. The structure has problems. Is it too big? Can't be too big. Maybe that guy has to be in the center? Okay, that was the problem. The controller has to be in the center. That's fine. When I was trying to make UU matter, one of the things that I have done is that, wonderful, we actually have superconductors here. One of the things that I have done is that I put a transformer here. So this cable is not the input to our supercapacitor, it's the output. Comes to a transformer and we get EV power. So this time we have an EV energy hash for the clean room because, well, the power is EV, and I'm hoping this time it's gonna warm up faster. It's consuming 640 EU per tick. That's the warming up phase, I suppose. It's not gonna last that long. Also, last time one of the things that we did is that we used ender chests. This time I don't want to do that. We want to use wireless technology. I have not used the wireless connector from Applied Energy Sticks that much, so let me try to figure it out. I have nothing. Ender eye rod. Well, imagine putting someone's eye in a lathe. That's weird. Let's get a bunch. Even though I don't really know much about wireless technology in Applied Energy Sticks, but I don't think it's going to be rocket science. We just need to be able to find a connection somewhere, down there. Yes, we shall have our connector, then we shall have our setup kit. I think we just right click, and the distance is not going to be that much, so it's not going to consume that much power. We right click again. Now you're connected, but we don't really want it to work like that. We want a P2P tunnel. Yeah, something like that. Now that the system has rebooted, we have channels. Perfect. So do we have circuit assemblers? Perfect. Awesome. I'm actually happy with this one. We have to make new patterns. And most importantly, we're going to need 2 more circuit assemblers. IV. Sometimes I'm confused. We have everything for it. Oh, for just the one. It's okay. I'll get the rest. I have set up all the assemblers, I have set in the patterns, and we can easily craft whatever we want. There's 4 of them here now. This is going to be a way faster setup than the one that we had previously because, well, we have 4 separate circuit assemblers. Previously it was doing the entire chain in one. Kind of stupid, I know. But I have also decided to add more laser engravers for auto crafting purposes. It would make my life a bit easier in auto-crafting some of the circuits, for example ULV ones. I don't have to worry about wafers. For random items, I have another engraver. I accidentally made 4 extra, I wanted 4, so why not? We can have an extra one, and 1 assembler. And the extra space that you see over here is going to be reserved for making sonarium. I will move it later on, it's not a big deal. But I'm actually quite happy with this. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, bye bye.